All right, so next we are going to be looking at multiplication using AlgebLox. I switched my mat from the basic mat to the quadrant mat, and I am now using a factor track, which is right in the middle here, and that is going to help us to multiply. All right, so the problem we're going to be looking at is negative x plus 1 times 2x minus 5. And negative x plus 1 is our first factor, and 2x minus 5 is our second factor. So let's fill in our first factor, which is negative x plus 1. And I'm going to put our first factor horizontally along the factor track. So we have negative x, and I'm going to represent our x values with the yellow blocks. So I'm going to put it on the negative side horizontally because it's a negative x. And then I'm going to represent our single values using the little green cubes. And I'm going to put that along, I'm just going to put this 1 along the positive side horizontally. All right, so let's look at our second factor, which is 2x minus 5. So we are going to put 2x minus 5 along vertically along the factor track. So we have 2x, so we're going to do positive 2x using the yellow squares, the yellow cubes. And then we have minus 5. So we're also going to place these vertically on the negative side. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. And when we are multiplying, our objective is to fill in these blank spots to make a rectangle. So to do that, we're going to be using other shapes that we have that come with our AlgebLox to fill in this empty rectangular space. And we're going to count them all up, and that will be the solution to our problem. So let's start with this quadrant right here. So we want to fill up this space that I'm tracing with my finger. So this space right here. And so to do this, I think we can use this shape because it fits perfectly this way. It lines up perfectly this way, and it lines up perfectly this way as well. All right, so we'll place another one. Yep, and that lines up perfect. All right, so that quadrant is all set. So let's move on to this quadrant. So we have these two, but we can't use these big squares because it also has to line up with this little green. This is our positive 1. So we want it to line up with both sides. So I think it would work if we used our yellow blocks because it lines up perfectly here and it lines up perfectly here. And so we'll add another one. All right, there we go. All right, and now we are going to look at this quadrant. So we have to find blocks that line up against this yellow and these 5 green. So since we know that this lines up perfectly right here for the green, we can add 5 yellow blocks because they line up on both sides. All right. Okay. And so now we just have this quadrant left, and then we will be able to complete our rectangle. So we're going to want to line them up with the green squares on this side and the green on this side as well. And the only block that's going to fit that is the green itself. So we're going to line them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so as you can see, we have our rectangle. So now we can count up all of the blocks we used to make this rectangle, and that will be the answer to our multiplication problem. All right, so let's start with this quadrant. So we have 2. All right. So we have 2x squared. 2x squared. And I'll show you my written answer once I finish it up. All right. So now let's look at the pairs we have here, and we'll combine them. So we have these in this quadrant. So 1, 2. And these in this quadrant as well. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7x, because we have 7x blocks. So plus 7x. Oh, and then also, so since these big blocks are in the negative quadrant, it's going to be negative 2x. And then since the x blocks are both in a positive quadrant, it's going to be positive 7x. So far we have negative 2x squared plus 7x. All right, so now we just have to look at our last quadrant, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have just negative 5. No x attached. They're just singles. So negative 5. All right. So working with the algebra blocks, we got our answer, which is negative 2x squared plus 7x minus 5.